There's one specific moment when I was dealing with him on his GPS monitoring that I got to experience how Matthew gets under stress. And his dog was in the process of having a crisis. It actually looked like the dog was going to die. And I said, I can't get hold of my GPS officer. I'm going to take the dog to the vet right now. And I said, Matthew, you need to listen to me carefully. If you do that, you're likely going to get a violation and we're going to be in trouble. I said, you need to calm down. You need to get a hold of your emotions and you need to call somebody else to take the dog to the vet. And he did just that. He calmed down. He got a hold of his emotions. He had somebody else take the dog to the vet. He called his GPS officer and he said, hey, I'm sorry I was rough with you on the phone trying to get permission. I know it was last minute permission. And he moved past that. And generally, he's been that type of person.
All right, the court is calling 2019 CR 7044A, State of Texas versus Matthew Cole. Can our parties announce for the record for the state? For the defense?
Austin Lady for Mr. Cole.
And are you Mr. Cole?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Cole, you entered a plea of no contest to count one on December 16th to the first-degree felony. According to the plea bargaining agreement, punishments be assessed at 6 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state is remaining silent on your application. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, and there is to be no contact with the complainants. Have both sides had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
Okay.
Defense?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, the state is remaining silent. Defense, there are witnesses, I believe, for you in the waiting room. I'm admitting them. All right, who would you like to call?
First, I'd like to call Stephanie Morey. Miss Morey, my understanding is that.
All right, just 1 second. Everyone, we are on Zoom, so you all need to whisper, and please do not approach the court coordinator or approach up here while we're on Zoom. Yes.
Miss Morey, my understanding is that you know Mr. Cole from his time in Washington over the past few years.
Yes.
Okay. And how did you come to know Mr. Cole?
Mr. Cole worked next door at the grooming salon that's right next door to my business. I became very familiar with him. He was always very nice and generous when I needed help with anything for my business, like hanging Christmas lights, for instance. Like if I asked Matthew for help, Matthew would be right there to come and help me do anything.
And was he employed by you or just he would help you with odds and ends?
He wasn't employed by me, but he would just help me just because. I mean, just he was a generous person.
Okay. And did he seem kind to you and honest?
Yes, very kind, very honest. We've had some lengthy conversations. He's helped me along the way. I've been going through an abusive marriage, and he's been there for me to be a shoulder to cry on, to listen to me, to guide me. So
Did at any point did he seem aggressive or like he didn't have control of his emotions?
I have never seen him like that. He's always just been kind of just low key, just very calm, gentle.
Okay. And in your experience with Mr. Cole over the past couple of years, did you ever know him to have an issue with alcohol?
No.
Okay. Is there anything
Never
else?
drank around me, so I don't think so.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the court at this time?
Yeah, I just would like to say that, Matthew, since he's been here in Washington, like, he's all I have known is he's just been a great individual, very loving, caring, to the people that he's close to and cares about. You can really tell because he really puts himself out there to be there for people. So definitely a good guy.
Okay. I'm done with this witness, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No cross-examination.
All right, thank you. You're excused, Ms. Morey.
Thank you.
Who's your next witness?
At this time, the defense would call Sean Malloy.
All right, Sean Malloy, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, please.
Sean Malloy.
All right, defense.
Mr. Malloy, how do you know Mr. Cole?
Is dating and now married to my stepdaughter. Lived with me for about a year or so.
Okay. And when he lived with you, what kind of arrangement was that? Where did he live in the house? How was the setup?
So Elliot was living with me before they met, and then after she met Matthew, she asked if he could stay with her, and so they shared a room in my house.
Okay. And you would see them quite frequently in the house. Is it a big house? How many square feet is it?
It's about 1,100 square feet, 3-bedroom. So yeah, I'd see them every day.
Okay. And what was kind of their general attitude? What did their relationship seem like from your viewpoint?
It was a very good relationship. I have lots of animals. Matthew was very keen on helping me take care of the animals because I own my own business and work for myself. So I'm not always able to be home. And he was always the first one to step up to help take care of stuff around the house that needed to be done while I was working late or whatnot, take care of all of our animals. Very friendly and outgoing.
Did Mr. Cole ever work with you at any point?
Yeah, he worked with me on several occasions. He helped me, kind of taught me how to install flooring that I'd never done before, but he had previous experience with.
And you work as a contractor?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find Mr. Cole to be kind and not aggressive?
Oh, yes, very much so. I wouldn't have anybody working with me on any of my jobs I couldn't trust to be there because, it's my name on the job. So anybody working under me puts my name on the line. So I have to have trustworthy people to be there.
At any point when they were living with you, did you hear them fight in a way that made you question whether he should be allowed to stay?
No, not at all. They were always very kind and loving to each other. I mean, I never saw anything that I would not want him to be around for. I mean, he's living in my house. If he was a problem, he wouldn't have been living there.
Okay. Is there anything further you want to share with this court?
Yes, I'd like to say, Matthew, he's been a pleasure to be around. And I think it would be a real injustice to send him to jail or prison for something like this. There's nothing to be gained from it. He's been, nothing but helpful to our family while he's been up here. And he's got plenty of job opportunities when he comes back. So.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I'm done with this witness, Your Honor. Pass witness.
All right, any questions?
No.
All right, thank you for coming in. You're excused.
Thank you.
At this time, defense would call Mark Williams.
All right, could you raise your right hand? For me, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you need to unmute, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Mark Williamson.
All right, defense.
Mr. Williamson, how do you know Mr. Cole?
Well, he was first the boyfriend and fiance and now husband of our granddaughter, Elliot.
And have you spent time with him over the past couple of years?
Yeah, we had him at our house a lot for dinner. I find him to be an intelligent, respectful young man. If I ever needed help moving heavy things around the backyard, the deck, anything, he was always there. No problems whatsoever.
Did you ever see him lose his temper or?
No, I've never seen. Nope, I've never seen him act like that one bit.
Okay. Do you know him to have an alcohol problem?
No, never.
You said something that he was easy to get along with. You all kind of have an age gap.
Yeah.
Is that surprising to you?
It's not surprising, but I have known some we're in our 60s. I've known some 20 somethings that are not the most respectful and easy to have a conversation with, but no, he's great. No issues whatsoever. Like I said, I find him to be very intelligent and can hold a good conversation.
Okay. Have you talked to Mr. Cole at all about his situation, what he's dealing with today?
No, I haven't spoken with him personally. No.
Okay. I don't have any, I have no further questions for this witness this time.
Any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you for coming in. You're excused.
Thank you.
Defense, any other witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, I'm going to be calling Stephen Go.
All right, and just one moment, how many witnesses do you have?
2 more, Your Honor.
All right, he can come forward.
Try to be brief, Your Honor.
No problem. Oh, I'm here. Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Stephen Go.
All right, defense.
How do you spell your last name, Mr. Go?
It's GOE.
Thank you. So how did you know Mr. Cole?
Mr. Cole is dating and now married to my adopted daughter, Elliot. I've known him for about 1.5 years. They also have both lived with my wife and I for about 4 or 5 months previously as well.
How long has Elliot been your adopted daughter?
Since she was 16.
And you do know about how old she is now?
She is 22.
So in that time, have you seen Elliot date different people?
Yes, I have. Matthew is the first boyfriend that I've actually liked and hadn't want to run out of my house.
Why is that?
He's been a great person. The Matthew that I know isn't the person that brought us here today. The time that I've known him, he's been kind, he's been considerate, respectful, helpful. He's been wonderful around my daughter. And fathers and daughters. So that's important to me. And he's taking care of her. My daughter has severe asthma. He's always been there to take care of her when she has really bad attacks, taking her to the emergency room and then calling me to let me know that she's there. They both had COVID, and even though he was suffering, he was taking care of her to make sure that her asthma wasn't a concern with her COVID. So he's been a good person.
Do you know Mr. Cole to be hardworking when he work?
Absolutely. When they lived with us, he would help me with projects around the house, help me fix things. When my garage door broke, he helped me repair it. And I know he was working in some trade work doing asbestos abatement. He was working at a veterinary clinic. So he's always been hardworking and always trying to improve it.
Mr. Cole, what do you do for work?
I'm a senior property manager for the General Services Administration, and I manage the U.S. District Court in Seattle and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in Seattle.
Anything else you'd like to share with this board?
Yeah, I think that everybody deserves a chance. I don't think anything is served by not putting Matthew on probation. He has a child on the way. He's newly married. His family needs him. And I think he would be best served by being allowed to continue trying to build the life that he's started to build for himself.
Anything further?
No,
I pass for this round.
Any questions? All right, thank you for coming in.
thank you.
For your next witness.
At this time, defense call Don Cole.
Could you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so I can hear in the courtroom. Court can hear.
Absolutely.
State your name for the record.
My name is Dawn Cole.
All right, defense.
Cole, how do you know Matthew Cole?
I'm his mom. So Matthew joined our family when he was about 8 years old. He had been in protective custody with CPS, and we adopted into our family when he was about 8.
And tell me a little bit about his childhood, briefly.
Well, he had been through a series of about 5 different placements with us. His biological family had waived parental rights because of criminal issues and challenges, and had a grandmother that had an addiction issue that also wasn't able to care for him. He was bounced from a number of foster homes after that, and we adopted him when he was about to turn 8.
And how long did he live with you at home?
until he was grown up, until when he was about 20.
What do you want to share with the court today about Mr. Cole and why he should get a chance here at deferred probation?
You know, obviously, I think everybody needs to be accountable for their actions, and it was a very serious thing that happened. But I also have seen Matthew take accountability and change his direction. He's been taking anger management classes. He has stepped out of what was really a betrayal that triggered this, you know, with a close friend that they had been such close friends that he had covered for the one of the victims in this case many times. And I think when the relationship betrayal happened, it was a snap situation, but it's not a pattern that we see with him.
Ms. Cole, I think it might be a little confusing, but what exactly do you mean by that? The betrayal?
Well, the two victims in this case, Matthew was living with at our home with one of the victims, and she and he have a child together. She was leaving our home and having a relationship with his best friend, which when that ended, he acted out in a way that, you know, was not helpful, was harmful, but I think was also a emotional situation, not a reflection of the kid whose whole Instagram is pictures of dogs that he's met along the way. So
What else would you like to share with the court?
I would just like to share with the court that everybody needs grace, and I would hope that the court could issue some grace in this situation.
Do you think if you're given the chance to defer who he is now, he'd be able to successfully complete it and learn from his actions?
I do. I think a lot of the reason that he went to Seattle was to get out of the situation. You know, we say new places, new faces when we're trying to change our lives. And we've definitely seen that he's chosen to do that.
And did Mr. Cole get in touch with you when you guys were meeting well before he ever got the warrant to catch up with him in Washington?
Yes, he had. And I think, you know, speaking to his growing up, he knew that he needed to get this taken care of and stop running from it and move forward. And we were in talks before the warrant came up.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No, thank you.
All right, pass
All right,
witness.
thank you so much. Any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Last witness before my client, Your Honor, Elliot Go.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Elliot, go.
All right, defense.
I think you have a prepared statement. I think it'd be good for you to read that.
My
Any
name is
objections to the witness reading a statement?
Okay.
My name is Elliot Go, and I am Matthew Cole's wife. I met Matthew in August of 2021, and we have been together ever since. Matthew has always taken care of me, including the handling of my medical issues. He gives me my biweekly injections, sorts my meds, and does my cystic fibrosis physical therapy. He handles everything when I'm having an asthma attack and can't function by myself. He has always been very loving towards me and our family, and everyone in my life can attest that he's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Matthew told me early on in our relationship about his legal issues, and we both decided to work together to get it figured out so we could move on with our life together. We researched lawyers and started putting money aside for our lawyer and our bail. We planned for Matthew to turn himself in as soon as we had set everything aside and could travel down to Texas. I believe people are capable of change and should not be condemned for mistakes made in their past, especially when they were still kids. I know Matthew has made mistakes, but I also know he is no longer that person, and who he's been working towards becoming is far greater than who he used to be. He has never made me feel unsafe or unhappy in our relationship. He has grown into a hardworking, loving, strong family man, and through thick and thin, I know he will always be there for our family. Matthew has taken so many steps to start a new life away from Texas and away from the people who provoked his juvenile behavior. And I worry about his mental health and the progress he has made over the last few years if he is forced to be back in Texas and in the system where the behavior he has long forgotten runs rampant. Matthew belongs in Washington with his family and his friends who have all helped him to see he is so much more than his past and have pushed him to grow into the amazing man he is today.
Elliot, are you pregnant right now?
I am pregnant. I'm 23 weeks.
Matthew's the father,
Yes,
and y'all recently got married.
We did. We got married on January 13th.
And briefly, what does he help you with your medical issues?
Matthew actually went out of his way in a lot of ways. He learned how to take my blood pressure. He's actually bought us our own blood pressure cuff, our own stethoscopes. He can also check my lungs to find out if I'm having an asthma attack or if I'm having laryngeal spasmings. He taught himself how to do my physical therapy for my cystic fibrosis, which I didn't even know about, but he's the one that found that and has been doing that ever since, and it's helped me tremendously. He does my injections for my asthma, my sinusitis, and my throat problems, and those are bi-weekly, and he's the one that's always done them for me. I just truly believe Matthew belongs in Washington. He's so much happier there. And, we're our whole family together. We just love him. He deserves to be with us.
Does he, in your opinion, have any sort of issues with alcohol or
No.
drugs, these problems?
No, I know he's had a past, but we've worked very hard to make sure that he's safe with us. We want to have a good family. We want to raise our daughter in a happy home. And he's been very good about making sure that we don't mess that up.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Any questions?
No question.
All right, thank you for coming in. Any other witnesses?
Last witness, this time I call my client, Matthew Cole.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Matthew Cole.
All right, defense.
Statement. I see you got it.
Any objections to the witness reading the statement?
The state would object to the defendant reading the statement.
That'll be sustained, it'll be in form of question answer. But let me have you all step back because I know the intention was for him to read the statement. So I'll give you a chance to,
We've talked enough, Your Honor.
I'll give you a chance to speak with him. Let me call a couple of more cases. All right. Okay. All right. So we're back on the record in 2019 CR 7044A, State of Texas versus Matthew Cole. Counsel, are you aware of your client's test results?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All right, so maybe we should discuss that.
Yes, Your Honor. So Mr. Cole has said to me numerous times he has no problems ceasing using marijuana and alcohol. I do know he came out positive today. It is legal where he currently lives in Seattle. I understand he's on probation.
But why would somebody come to Texas? Because he knows marijuana is not legal in Texas. Why would somebody come for a sentencing, telling me how he's changed his life, and then comes here only to test positive for drugs?
Your Honor, I think he's extremely stressed and anxious about the situation. I think he.
Well, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help if somebody wants to come I mean, counsel, it doesn't help you if you're asking the court, for example, for probation on the DWI, and because you're stressed about it, you drink and you come to court intoxicated.
Yeah, I'll let my client speak to his
Mhm.
particular situation.
All right, you want to ask him some questions?
Yeah, you've already been sworn in. So Mr. Cole, specifically about this test, before we get into your other statement, do you have anything specifically you want to tell the court about why you're positive today?
I'm positive today because I did smoke last week. I was stressing a lot about the court date. I have bad insomnia, and that's why I mainly used marijuana for in the past. And I stopped a week before the court date, hoping that was enough time. Obviously, it was not. And I didn't smoke. I took an edible. I'm sure that doesn't make much of a difference. But I am making an effort, and I was no way meaning any sort of disrespect by coming in here and testing positive for marijuana.
Mr.
I mean,
Cole?
I don't take it as a sign of disrespect. This is your case.
Absolutely.
I'm just here to hear it and make a decision based upon what I hear and the evidence that's before me.
Absolutely.
So
Mr. Cole, what was the primary substance involved in the offense here?
Alcohol.
And, have you been drinking alcohol regularly? You drink
No.
If you were to take an alcohol test today, would you be clean?
Yes.
You wouldn't have anything in your system past 72 hours?
No.
And if you were placed on probation and you were to start taking regular urinalysis, would your marijuana levels go down, down, down to zero and stay at zero?
Absolutely.
Okay, you understand that if you mess that up, the judge can sentence you to prison time.
Yes, I'm 100% prepared to put this behind me and do everything I can to make that happen.
Okay, so you had some other things you'd like to tell this court about why you should get a chance at deferred probation. What do you have to say?
I want to start by saying that I understand the pain that I've caused and the time that I've wasted. I've been making,
Excuse me, in the box, you're gonna have to be quiet because you're right behind the court reporter. Otherwise, you can move it down to the end. I'm sure. All right, you can continue.
yes, ma'am. I've been making a huge effort to better my life and better my relationships. I've been holding down stable jobs in Washington. And I feel like I've become a better person since I've separated myself from the friend group that I had here in Texas. They were a lot of the reason for everything, arguments with my parents, everything I always wanted to fit in. And I surround myself with a group of people here who did not have my best interest in mind and steered me off the right track. And now that I'm in Washington, I feel like I am on the right track. And my son is 5 years old and I haven't been in his life for a few years now. And that really hurts. And honestly, it's more of a punishment. That is more of a punishment than any punishment the state could give me not being able to see my son. And that's all I want, is just to be in his life.
Worried you're not gonna be able to be there for your other child?
I am. I love my family and I want to support them however I can.
So, Mr. Cole, if something specific about your background, your history would make you more prone to want to fit in and be more susceptible to peer pressure?
I was adopted when I was 8. And so, I mean, I have my fair share of bullying. It's hard to fit in when you come from so many different homes.
When you came into this world, what's the situation started with?
I was addicted to heroin when I was born. And my dad was in prison. I don't really remember much. I was in and out of foster homes. I was originally placed into protective care because my grandma had a seizure at a via bus stop and I was with her. And they just decided there that they weren't fit. And they took me to police car to CPS.
And you feel like you've overcome that trauma, you've grown from it?
Yeah.
Okay. But when you're young adolescent life, you struggle to make friends and you kind of
Definitely.
belong out to those people that came around you.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else specifically you want to tell this court right now about why you should get a chance to defer?
I just want to be in my son's life. It's my main goal. I want to provide for him.
You have opportunity for work. Should you be allowed to go back to Washington? Do you have the option to work there?
Absolutely. I worked at a veterinary clinic in Washington. And I resigned from there to start at a abatement company because the pay was better. Unfortunately, that company did not work out because they couldn't give me the schedule, like my work schedule and time for my ankle monitor officer. He wanted my schedule a week in advance, and the way they worked, they sent us our schedule the day before every day. So it ended up not working out. I did speak to the doctor that I worked with previously, and he says he's willing to hire me back. He just wants this to be over with. He was going to hire me back before I came to court today, but he didn't know what was going to happen here, and neither did I. So he wanted to wait until after today to make a decision.
And you've been on an ankle monitor since October 2022.
Yes.
Have you had any violation reports?
No.
So I have argument, Your Honor. I'm going to witness a past witness.
Any questions?
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Cole, you said you have a 5-year-old child, correct?
Yes.
And who's the mother of that child?
Alyssa Garcia.
Is she the complaining witness in this case?
Yes, sir.
And where does the child reside?
I believe with her mom.
And is that in the state of Texas?
It is.
And if you're granted probation in this case, you'll be leaving to reside in the state of Washington.
I will, but I plan on fighting for my rights to the kid.
And as the court found out today, the use of marijuana is legal in the state of Washington, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it's illegal currently in the state of Texas.
Yes, sir.
And you said that you use that to self-medicate for insomnia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with that knowledge, will you be using marijuana in the state of Washington to continue self-medicating with marijuana?
No, I'm not gonna risk anything. Okay. I'd rather stay up all night.
All right, any other witnesses? All right, the court will hear argument.
Your Honor, when Mr. Cole hired me, he had not yet been picked up. He did have an active warrant, and he said, I need to get this fixed. I need to come back to Bear County, and I want to get this situation resolved. Since then, he has worked with me. He did get picked up a little bit earlier than he had the money for bond, which was a little bit traumatic for him. But he realized at that point that the court was calling, and he had to come and atone for what had happened here. Since speaking to him and his family in Washington, he has shown a new family, a new life, a new way of living for him up there. Other than the violation of, coming here hot for marijuana, he will do everything correct with this court. I do think he would be successful and deferred. I do think his levels will go down and he will not be here for a violation. I think he's also shown that by being on an ankle monitor since October of 2022. When this court granted him the opportunity to go back to Washington on an ankle monitor. He's come back for several court dates and hasn't been late. He's been respectful. There was one specific moment when I was dealing with him on his GPS monitoring that I got to experience how Matthew gets under stress. And his dog was in the process of having a crisis. It actually looked like the dog was going to die. And he said, I can't get hold of my GPS officer. I'm going to take the dog to the vet right now. And I said, Matthew, you need to listen to me carefully. If you do that, you're likely going to get a violation and we're going to be in trouble. I said, you need to calm down. You need to get a hold of your emotions and you need to call somebody else to take the dog to the vet. And he did just that. He calmed down. He got a hold of his emotions. He had somebody else take the dog to the vet. He called his GPS officer and he said, hey, I'm sorry I was rough with you on the phone trying to get permission. I know it was last minute permission. And he moved past that. And generally, he's been that type of person that will listen to what I had to say and work towards getting his emotions in check. So despite what is a case that shouldn't happen, he shouldn't have gotten himself in this situation, and he recognizes he made a bad decision. This was a lover's quarrel, this situation, and he has moved past it. He's moved past his alcohol use, and I do think this will be a moment in his life that'll make a turn and not look back. But for all those reasons, Judge, we would argue that you put him on deferred adjudication. We'd ask for the least amount of time you would give. We'd ask that you excuse his positive marijuana test and monitor him while he starts his deferred and that those levels go down.
All right. This is what I'm going to do. I have a lot to think about. I'm going to recall this for tomorrow morning, and at that time, I will make my decision.
Thank you, Judge. See you then.
All right, Ms. Ferguson will give you the reset form
Ruben Herrera for the state.
for the defense.
Awesome, maybe for Mr. Cole.
All right, so we're starting a new thing in this court. People are not allowed to whisper when they come before the bench so that the court reporter can hear. It amazes me. Everybody whispers when they're before the bench, but then when they're talking and conferring, everybody is so loud we can't hear anything up here. So everyone needs to keep their voices up so that the court reporter can hear. It's Valentine's Day. We're going to make her job easy today. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. So yesterday, the court heard testimony from defense witnesses. Is there any more testimony from either side?
No, the state does have victim impact statement. The victim in this case is running a 3-minute delay, Judge. They are here parking. We may need just a few minutes.
All right. So, Mr. Cole, I reset this case for today because there are many things for me to think about. And I will tell you from reading the police report, my first thing was you belong in prison. And some cases, they're very difficult. And I never have a crystal ball to know how somebody's future is going to be. So when I'm making decisions about what's in the police report about the person who's standing before me, about whether this person has learned their lesson, because sometimes punishment is about rehabilitation, but it's also about punishment as well.
Absolutely.
And any type of sentencing, punishment is always a part of it. But then you have the rehabilitation. And hopefully when people go to prison, they receive rehabilitation as well. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes people go to prison and they come out of prison. Sometimes they're worse than when they went in. And sometimes they just don't learn anything. They say, my life is over. So in reading the police report, it's horrible what you did. But I am also looking at, and it wasn't these prosecutors, but previous prosecutors with regards to the co-defendants, they agreed for them to have deferred adjudication. So I listened to your past and what you've gone through with your mom being a heroin addict, with your grandmother having a seizure while you were 8 on the VIA bus, and CPS just coming in, scooping you up. And then they're like, this is your new family who you're going to be with. I, internalized the fact that this person is supposed to be your very best friend. And then it turns out your best friend is not really a friend. He's with the mother of your child.
I knew him since elementary school.
Yeah. So you knew him since elementary school. We can go off the record. As a side note, you know what my grandmother would always tell me?
What?
Nobody's your friend but Jesus Christ and sometimes your mom.
So my grandma.
Because sometimes your mom doesn't like what you do. All right. We can go back on the record. So it appears that you're doing well, and you're doing well not being in Bexar County. So is it your intention to remain outside of Bexar County?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
All right.
We'd like to transfer, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Cole, what do you think should be done with you?
I think I should get deferred.
Well, no, here's the thing. Sometimes people think and want certain things, but the question is, what do you deserve?
I think I deserve deferred because I've made a lot of effort and a lot of improvements in my life. And I'm continuing to make those improvements. And I know in my heart that whatever punishment you give me, I'm going to follow through 100%.
So if you get sent to prison, what are your plans?
I'm going to try to have a positive mindset in prison. I mean, nothing much I can do there. Obviously, I'd like to not go to prison. I'm trying not to follow in my dad's footsteps. But if it happens, it happens.
All right. So what would be your plans if you're in prison? All right. If there are jurors in the courtroom, you need to wait outside. And the person in the red coat, you need to have a seat. If you're in the courtroom, you need to have a seat. If you are on the docket and you're late, you need to have a seat on the first row. So if you're sent to prison, what are your plans? Because your minimum sentence going to prison, it's an agreed upon that you do 6 years. So what would be your plans if you're taken into custody today and transported to prison?
My plans would probably be to pursue a higher education, but that would also be my plan if I get deferred. The only difference is I'd be able to work and provide for my family.
All right, because we're talking about prison. We're not talking about deferred. So I'm trying to figure out what your plans are if you're sent to prison.
I would pursue a higher education and work out probably and read.
And how do you think prison life would go for you?
I don't think it would go well. I would just be surrounded by the people that I've worked hard to get away from.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the people we work to get away from are our people, right? Because if you commit a crime,
Absolutely.
a lot of people will come before me and they'll say, oh, I'm not like them. And my thing is like, yeah, you're like them because that's why you're here. You committed an offense. So
I definitely agree that I used to be like that. But I know that I've changed. I know I'm a different person now.
But if you go to prison today, that means that you have to say goodbye to your family. Are they going to wait for you?
I believe so.
Have you talked to them about going to prison?
Absolutely.
And
I've
what's your
talked to my wife
conversation?
about going to prison since I first met her.
Mhm.
It's hard, obviously, but I believe it's something we'd be able to work through.
right. Anything else for me to decide?
I have something briefly, Your Honor. I do think Mr. Cole will do better outside of prison because of the work opportunities he has, the family support he
But doesn't
has.
everybody feel they'll do better outside of prison?
Well, yes, but I think
Don't people who get sentenced to murder think, you know what? I do better outside of prison.
it's a fair point, Your Honor. Poor choice of words on my part. What I mean to say is, Mr. Cole has work opportunities, has a new baby that's coming, that's not going to be provided for while he's in the system. And I think him working and being with that new family is going to produce generational results. And I think giving him that chance at deferred is the right thing at this moment. Now, if he screws that up, that's on him. And you know the full range of punishment will be there at that point. But I think he deserves one chance at this deferred because he's telling you he's ready. And I think if you give him that chance, he's not going to let you down.
Yes.
And I just want to say, because I haven't been there for my son for so long, I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to be there for my daughter.
But here's the thing, and I always tell people this. These are things that people should have thought about before, right? So
Absolutely.
let's assume you are alone in this world. You don't have any children, you don't have a wife, right? So there's nobody that you need to be out for to financially support.
Yes, ma'am.
Having that as a scenario, why shouldn't I just send you to prison?
Because I still want to support myself. It's not like,
Well, I mean, you can support yourself
Still-
in prison.
you know, like it's about my family more,
Well,
in
no,
my mind, but
let's assume you don't have any family. Let's just assume you are Matthew Cole by yourself in this world. Now, if you get sent to prison, guess what? You're going to get meals.
Yeah.
It may not be the meal you want. You're going to get a shower. There's going to be electricity. I don't know if they do AC at the prison or not. It's been a long time since I visited the prison, but you're going to have all that. So you will have support. You will be allowed to work. You can work in laundry. I think you can work in the cafeteria. They provide free education. So you'll have all those things if you're sent to prison.
I think it's possible that I would fall back into a negative mindset being in prison. I mean,
That's the wrong answer, because you just told me if you were sent to prison that you're going to make the best of it. And when you get out,
yeah, but
you're going to do right.
I'm going to be sad about it. Obviously, I'm not going to go into prison like happy and cheery. You know, it's going to be hard. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I deserve a chance, and I don't think that prison is the right place for me, for who I am today.
Okay, nobody thinks prison is the right place for them. People who are at the Bexar County Jail who come over here doesn't think the Bexar County Jail is the right place for them.
I think the witnesses from yesterday show that everyone in my life, everyone that I'm surrounded with now, thinks that I shouldn't belong in prison.
But what
And
is
these are all upstanding people who are very law-abiding citizens.
but what does the complainant think?
I'm sorry, I didn't-
What does the complainant think in this case?
I'm not sure. I would be upset, obviously, if I was in that position.
I'm sure the complainant probably thinks you should go to prison, right?
Probably, but I'm not sure. I haven't been able to talk to anyone. I have a no contact order. So.
All right, anything else?
This time we would just re-urge to follow deferred recommendation.
Whispering.
We would re-urge to follow the deferred recommendation, looking at what the co-defendants have done and received, and also in light of what Mr. Cole said today, and all of the witnesses that are there to support him, I think he deserves that chance.
And how old are you?
I'm 23.
All right, anything from the state? I know you are silent.
We do have a victim impact statement. The complainant in this case is here.
All right. And so this is what the court is going to do. And the court will note that the co-defendants received deferred adjudication. Court is going to sentence you to 10 years deferred adjudication, $1,500 fine, time and money to run concurrent. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Alyssa Garcia and Dalton DeWinnie. That's DEWINNIE. The BIP course. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's to be regular UAs. And where are you saying you want the transfer to?
I live in Renton, Washington,
What county is that?
King County, I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll do a transfer to King County. 300 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours we waive if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. The court is not requiring you to get the COVID vaccination, but if you do, 40 of those hours will be waived. Parenting classes. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Anger management. I'm going to want a TAP evaluation. And at the TAP let me say, I think we may have had a TAP evaluation.
I think there was a TAP as part of the PSI. Your Honor.
So I'm going to want intensive outpatient treatment. And I'm going to want 90 sober meetings in 90 days. And probation, can you see if King County, I don't know if they do it, if they can do field visits. If they can do field visits, then I'm going to want field visits 2 times per month. And if they want to, they can make the reporting the field visit. Probation, is there anything else he needs?
Is it okay for him living in King County right now to give him a travel permit to get there and then
Yes,
for virtual recording until he's actually transferred?
yes. All right, anything else, probation?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cole, is there anything else you need from the court?
I don't think so. I just want to say thank you.
All right. Well, I mean, we'll see how you do, okay?
Yeah.
Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yeah.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. So, Mr. Cole, you need to make sure that you follow through on everything that's being asked of you. If for any reason a motion to revoke is filed against you and it's granted, you're looking up to life in prison. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, your agreement with the state was for 6 years and they were silent. So because you received deferred adjudication, now you're looking up to life in prison. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to have to do better. And from here on out, every decision that you make in your life, you need to ask yourself, is this something that can result in me potentially going to prison for life? You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And that goes with any marijuana use, any edibles, or anything like that. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If there is some issues with mental health, then you need to talk to someone about that. And you can speak to probation about that. They will recommend someone. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your Honor, one question, the 90 sober days, what exactly is that?
Oh, he needs to do 90 meetings in 90 days.
Or can some of those be online or does he need to find an in-person facility?
I can go to an AA meeting.
Okay,
Yes.
so in any means, okay.
Yes.
thank you.
All right.